I'm going to show you how to replace the frozen adjusters on the 2000 to 2006 Denali headlights. I searched and searched and searched and I couldn't find anything online to say how to do this, so I figured I'd make a video. The things that you're going to need Dorman part number 42144. Comes with an adjuster, and there's two extensions to adjust the assembly. This kit works for 92 to 01 GM vehicles. Then you're going to need a tap. The tap that I found works is a 10 by 32. I got the adjusters off Amazon, 10 bucks a pop. Tap, if you don't have a tap and die set, they're $5 to $7 depending on where you go. You're going to need a wire cutter or a Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel. You're going to need an inch wrench or a crescent wrench, and if you want to make the job go a little faster, an inch deep well socket on a 1/2 inch ratchet. Now, I already took the back off of this, so you can see right here my busted adjuster. It's stripped out internally. What happens with these is this plastic collar is inside of here, and you can see there's a gear. This is one from the earlier one I did. You can see the gear is right there, and then this piece right here actually comes down from here. I had to cut that shaft in order to spin this off. But you can see this gear, just a brass gear, and that tooth stripped out is what causes it to have issues. So what you got to do is you got to basically remove this from this seam up, and then either with your cutoff wheel or a hacksaw or something, you're going to have to cut this adjuster right about here. I'm going to start cutting the top off of this adjuster here. Alright, as you can see here, I had to fast forward because I don't have a tripod or anything. As you can see here, I got a good cut all the way around. You can see the gear system on the inside, and I also got that adjusting stud cut off too. So now you just come in here, and you take, see how it came apart there? So there we go. And you can see there's also that gear right there too. You take that off, take off that cap, this comes off, and you can see right there's that busted tooth. That's what's causing all the issues right there. So now you can either take your Dremel tool and cut along the side here of this adjusting sleeve, or what I do is I put a vice grips down here at the base where there's no threads, and then I turn this off with the pliers. I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like when I remove the broken collar here. I'm doing this one-handed to try to show you all as much as I can in a video, but you can see I have it positioned against the back of the headlight housing, or the back side over here, so I can do it one-handed. But basically you just clamp onto it like so, with a good firm grip, it will come off kind of difficult. So I'm going to try to do this with one arm to show you here. You got to give it a little bit of pressure. You can see I had to re-grab it a couple times in order to get it because it is stuck. You get the idea. You can see here that I got the collar off. I had to pretty much destroy it to get it to come off. But you can see all the corrosion on the threads. Goofy cell phone camera. Yeah, there's a bunch of corrosion on the thread. There's a bunch of buildup on there. So that's why it got stuck. Now what we got to do, got to take our tap. You can see here. You put the broader open side where there's less threads down. You see that inside of there, right inside of that, compared to the other side. That side goes up. That's the finishing cut. And that's where it starts to cut. So that goes down. Take this off of here first. I'm going to leave the vice grips there because I'm going to have to put some torque on this to get it started. The reason why the adjuster doesn't fit right away is because the threads are slightly smaller on here than here. That's why I have no problem taking this die and rethreading it. So you're going to have to get it. You're going to have to be kind of gentle and get a feel for it. But some of the, like one or two of the threads will kind of start. Then you're going to have to get some force on it. I'm just trying to start it by hand here. Now I'm just going to verify that it's somewhat straight. It'll straighten itself out. Hopefully. The first couple turns are going to be your most important ones because that's what sets it up for everything. And as I'm turning this, I'm also pushing down on it because being that this is a slightly smaller size, I got to push down it on a little bit to get it to start. Now I'm going to grab the 1-inch wrench, or if you want to use a crescent wrench or whatever you want to use. I'm going to put it on there like so, push down with my finger, and then turn slowly. And then once I get it, so the threads start coming out the top here, then I'll use my ratchet. Because then I know it's all the way through. Alright, now that you can see the threads are starting to come out the top, and they're looking pretty good. My cell phone camera is having a hard time focusing in on them. Let's see if that'll work. Nope. Yeah, there we go. See, the threads are starting to come through. Now I can grab my ratchet. And then just go to town. Now you can see that I'm trying to do, you still have to go slow when you're doing this to kind of give the die a chance to do its job. Don't use a power drill, Don't use anything like that. Just go slow. Just doing a little progress update here. If you're using a wrench and you start to see these little curly cues come up, don't be alarmed. That's just the old thread being, or the old stock being taken off and removed by the die. I'm going to keep going and get it to about right about here. You can see that the factory tapers right about here. I'm going to stop right about where you see this yellow marking, because that'll be more than enough adjustment. Alright, so you can see I got it all the way down there. Now when you pull this off, I would recommend unthreading it by hand, because like I said before, you'd hate to mess this up, because this will still cut as you're removing it, and you would hate to mess up the threads that you just made. So don't use any power tools, any ratchet. Just do it by hand. That way you're not putting too much force on it. I'm just going to fast forward and show you how the new adjuster fits on now. So this is the new adjuster. It has the same footprint as the old one, which is why I thought of this method and thought this might work. Exact same footprint. So new adjuster goes on just like so. And I got a little bit of friction right there, which is good, because you want a little bit of friction. I mean, it just needs a little bit of force to go around. That's fine. And then, after you get everything assembled, you take the square end of this turning stock, or whatever they call this piece. There you have your star bit for your adjustment. And that just goes in there. And you sink it down into place. There we go. So you'd feel it go into place, and then you can turn it to adjust it. The only problem is that I've found, and I still gotta find a remedy for this, if you're using a magnetic bit, like I am right here, it wants to pull this stock out with it. So I'm gonna try to maybe put a little bit of thread sealer in that hole, like a blue thread sealer or something in that hole to help kind of keep it in place. I don't want to make it permanent. Well, I do want to make it permanent, but I got to figure out something to keep it in there so it doesn't come out with vibration. But that pretty much concludes it. After you get that assembled, put the housing back on, and you'll have full adjustability again.